All right. So at this point, we have officially started the class. So let's see. Let it start. Then I will try to have everybody connected so we can actually then go into, talking about Linux.
Is that my screen?
Yeah, that's your screen. That's Ubuntu coming up, right? So let it come up.
Yes.
I believe you still remember your password.
I think I do.
All right, very good. One you two, because we need it. Right. So why can you quickly take a look to see if okay, good. It opens without logging you out. That's a good one already, right? So now, right, let's quickly check something. I'll quickly take over
Okay.
to check this. All right. Oh, we have to use your computer slow now.
That's the reason I should get one, right?
Yeah, very important. Can you click on that Ubuntu? Just right click on the Ubuntu. Let's see. Right click or add on the screen. And then just take terminal. Terminal. Open terminal. Now we want to see, right? So here your name, your user is Killian. So what is the password? Now let's go and open mobile XTEM. Just to
What is
know
it?
those things. Let's open mobile XTEM now. I assume you know the password. So you are logging as a user called Killian, which is okay.
Yes.
So let's now go to the mobile XTEM. Okay, do me a favor. Type IP space A. Space A, enter. We want to check the IP address. Let's see. Do you have, okay. This IP address is not going to work in this scenario. So we need to add one. We need to add an address adapter. We need to add how do you call that? Go to go to, because this default cannot connect from the external.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to add a bridge adapter. A bridge adapter is to be able to enable it to communicate with other features within the internet, so we can be able to use more XM to log in. But as of now, as you could see, there is no way you can log in from XM because it's using by default IP. So I want you to go to mobile XM, minimize this Ubuntu. Let's go to mobile XM. Minimize, good. Now here on the mobile XM, right? Oh,
Yeah.
don't minimize. Bring back up the virtual box.
With your box.
Yes. Sorry, there's one person that's complaining about meeting ID. Right. So, where's the mobile XTEM? Okay, at least, okay, try open this Ubuntu that you installed now. Let's see where it's working. What we're going to use it for now. It's going to be more, convenient. Click on open.
Yeah, I just did.
Yeah. Madam Mary. Yeah, it's pretty slow, right? Listen. Okay, let me see. There is the link and it's requesting password.
Sorry, Prof, I couldn't unmute myself. Was there a question for me?
Oh, so I was just checking if you have your systems up and they're all good. Have you tried them? Just to be sure.
Yes, I will just do a console login to get
Okay.
an IP address as well.
All right. Quick, let me get this info. As a password, I want to send this password to somebody there. Meeting ID. I don't know why I'm not logged in using the link. 59. You can then go ahead, Mr. Killian and share back, and let's continue. So first can join us. I want to get that running so that I can start going. So still not open. Remote access again. So I mean, it's not opening. That's fine. We will go with the one that is installed. This one could have been convenient because lighter. Have you granted me the access?
Yes, I did.
I'm not sure. All right. Ah, no. See, it opens severally. You see that?
That might be the reason why it's slow.
So all right. That's
Okay,
taking
hold on.
our time. So let's go back to where's the I don't it's,
What are you looking for?
where
You
is
can just shut down the multiple these things and
virtual
use just
box?
one. Yes.
Okay, this is even failing. It's having some errors. I need to troubleshoot it. So your system is even compatible, so we cannot go with this. That's just the whole thing. Where's the virtual box? Let me bring it up. Just let me close this, all right? All right. Now, VirtualBox, where is it?
Yeah, I can't. Oh, I didn't pin it. I didn't pin it to.
I can't see the bottom of your computer. That's why it's difficult for me to search for
Okay,
it.
let me open the. Let
No, it's
me
okay, it's
open.
on the screen.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. I mean, you need a good computer, Mr. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna quickly add an adapter here. So for the networking, just where's the network adapter? So you're gonna add additional adapter. Why? Okay, so great. I'll need to shut down the machine first. Topic. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now, so we're gonna add a bridge adapter.
Okay.
So, okay, that's a bridge adapter. Good.
What is the essence of that?
It is to enable you to be able to connect from your mobile extern. So there is
Okay.
a NAT. What is NAT? NAT is basically network address translation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you have the bridge. The bridge network enables your operating system to be able to connect to the internet. So with that, you can be able to access resources from mobile extern. You can be able to connect from mobile extern, but NAT does not give you that option. As far as this thing is concerned, I don't have the capability on mobile extern. If that was on actually something like maybe what is going to connect, like for instance, VMware, but
Okay.
not VirtualBox. So, Madam Therese, how are you?
Fine, thank you, Mr. Mike.
All right. So, I mean, very quick, I'm going to have you share your screen because I will need to take a look at have you set up one or two things so that we can keep going, because end of the day, after this class, I'm going to evaluate and see if I was covering those things that's needed. Otherwise, I'm going to come in the next class where I will have to just provide a system for you to log in so we can be able to work together as a class. Because we don't have to get stuck in one place. We have a very limited time, a lot that we have to accomplish. So let's see how it goes. Yeah, Mr. Killian, can you right click again? And then open terminal. And then IP space A. Enter. Now, so it has come with a new IP address. What's the IP address? 192.168.1.28. So copy that IP address, or else you can go type it. 192.168.1.28. Okay, go to your mobile extern now. Open the mobile extern that we installed.
Yeah, hold on. You're going so fast, getting me confused.
Please. Okay. It's all right. Mobile extern. Did we install mobile
Oh,
extern?
yeah, we did install that.
Okay, once you open the mobile extern, make sure you pin it, not to your taskbar.
Okay, let me see.
Minimize this Ubuntu now. I know that the last four is 1128. So
Quick question, Prof.
yes. Go ahead.
I was trying to look at his IP address.
Mr. Killian.
Yes. Hold on, let me.
Okay, yeah, I'm getting you. Can you go ahead? You are trying to look at
Oh.
it. Uh-huh.
I wanted to see where you were pulling his IP address from because I thought it was 10.0.0.225.
So that one 10.0.0. something 5, right, is not the one that we use. So it's the last one at the bottom. Look at the one that starts with 192.168.1.128. You see that? Where the mouse?
Yes.
Yeah, that's where I'm getting it from.
Okay.
Yes. So, Mr. Killian,
Yes.
go minimize this Ubuntu. Let's go to more, minimize this VirtualBox as well. Okay. Now, that's mobile external on your screen. Open it.
Oh, okay.
And once you open, pin on the taskbar so that we should always get it from there once we need it. Open. So our target is to log in. A couple of days, we are going to do a lot with Linux and then Jig. Those are foundational courses that everybody must know as far as DevOps is concerned. So pay great attention to that. Just take OK. And then now it shows that expand. Now the more extend. Now, so it shows that you did have some WSL stuff there, right? So can you just double click on the first one, Ubuntu? Let me see. Just double click. Going to open. We're sure there are 2 Ubuntu that installed. Okay. Now go take on session. Double click the second one. Let me see on 22. Okay, go take session. Session. No, session on our side. Yeah, that. Now go to the last one that says WSL at the last. Yeah, good. Take that. And then on the drop down that says default. Take for instance Ubuntu 22. Take 22. Just take Ubuntu. So you do have a lot of stuff here. Take OK at the bottom. Let's see again.
What?
It's gonna connect. Okay. This one connect. Though is a permission denied. How comes? So
I think that he did not put the IP address on advanced this thing.
no, in this scenario, don't put the IP. That's okay.
Okay.
URL, let's see. Okay. Now it's working with root. That's fine. We are going to keep this one for now, and then we are going to open another session. Go to session again. Then take SSH now instead of SSH. I know I did copy the IP address. Can you paste it here?
No, I did not.
Okay, type it 192.156.1.128. And then the username is Killian. Check on that box, specify name. Check on the box that says specify name before specify name.
Oh, okay.
And then now you put in your name. The username is Killian. And then okay. Okay, let's see if I did miss something on the IP or not. If I did miss, we have to recheck it and then get it right. 192.156. Okay, go back to quickly return to that. Quickly return to your Ubuntu on the local on the VM. Do I still have access to your screen? Let me see.
Yeah, you have access.
Minimizing. And then where is the I can't see the bottom of your screen. So
I don't know why you're not seeing it though.
say show. Show. Minimize this, minimize. It's not, it's showing already, but okay, bring up the Ubuntu. Look at the Ubuntu at the bottom. I can't see the bottom. Click on the VM, the Ubuntu VM. Yeah, that's it right there. Now 192.168.1.
Yeah, okay.
128.
You
That's
said
right.
150, you said 156, that's why.
Oh, okay, 168. Sorry, go back and correct it. Yeah, 192.168. Yeah, open another session. And then SSH 192.168.1.128. And then check that box again and then give the username as Killian. And then, okay, we're gonna prompt you for your password. Still not. Okay, if it's still not, let's forget about it for now, Mr. Killian. Let's go with this one that's open so I can use. Now go back to this one. What I'm
Which
gonna
one?
do, let's close this. We are not gonna stay here trying to troubleshoot what the network issue is. So this one is good for you to practice a Linux there for now. What other things you are doing?
An Ubuntu issue because I've tried to and I get network error. Connection refused.
Okay, I'm coming to you. Then let's go. Here, I'm going to say, let's create a user. Okay, let's say user or add user. Let's say add user Killian.
1L.
Killian. What is it saying? Not return. Okay, let's say sudo add sudo user add. I want user add user Killian.
Oh.
You see, your prompts are just a lot.
We'll sort that out this week.
Oh yeah, it's very good too. Shell. Okay, let's say user add Killian.
1L.
Sorry. Let's see. We go. Let's see. User mode. VO. Let's see. Oh, I'm missing something here. Let me quickly refer to this user mode. Okay. We go. Killian. I was saying. I'm mixing that. Let me check that. I think I'm mixing something. User add mode. Effect. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Sudo. I don't need sudo self. So all I need to say user mode. -AG. Sorry. And then not G. Okay, sudo Killian. So what I was just trying to do is I was just trying to create a user. I mean, add a Killian to the user to the sudo group so that Killian can be able to perform some tasks related. The home is not created. Wait. I don't know why this command is not working. All right, that's fine for now. Just use your we are going to change the home. So we have created a user, but user is not having their home set up yet. Let me go to other people for now. So just work with this for now. Let me
Okay.
have other people ready so that we can start working. Just that you're working as road, but it's not a good practice at work. We are going to change that. Right? So you never work as road. So we're going to change that shortly. So I'm going to stop you from sharing. I'm going to look at Mary's issue so that we can solve and then go into. Madam Mary, can you go ahead and share?
Prof, I logged in using Alma Linux because when I tried, I was getting the same connection network errors like the one you were getting with Ubuntu. That's what I was saying. So I'm logged in, but this time with Alma Linux. Let me just share.
Yes.
That's me. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen. So you are logging with Amazon Linux, okay? That's fine. So let's check again with that and see what's the issue. Because if we could all have Ubuntu to work with, that's fine, right? So one, for instance, if we have one flavor, because the commands and certain things will not work, so that we follow the same. If we want to follow the Red Hat based distro, will follow the same. And you have to follow, for instance, Debian based like Ubuntu will follow the same, right? Though we are going to use all of them, but it's just like, right, when we want to switch to one, we'll switch all of us. So that it should be uniform. When we are working, everybody can work, because else I will type some commands and you try to type them, they're going to fail. See the issue. Yeah. Can we try to look at now? Go back to that. Show the Ubuntu. Let's see. Bring up the Ubuntu.
This is Ubuntu. Are you seeing it?
I am seeing the mobile extend.
Let me share my entire screen now.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now open terminal. Let's see.
You want me to do IPA, right?
Yep.
Can you please zoom out so we see the font? I barely see.
Yeah, so use the IP address 10.0.0.59. Is that the one you use?
I tried that, it did not work. But let me go to mobile XTEM and you see.
Okay,
Oh, this is mobile XTEM.
all right.
That's mobile XTEM, right?
Yeah.
I'm connected to 10.0.0.127,
Mhm.
but I can start a new one.
Yeah, start a new one, let's see. So just start a new one, take a new session. No, not that one. Take yeah, okay, SSH.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a serious one. All right. All right. Okay. That's fine. So it means that we are going to go with that for now. Then no worries.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
yeah, I'm going to know how we got to go with that. All right, Madam Teres, let me know, do you have any operating system set up? If not, share screen, let's quickly get you set up WSL.
Stop.
Let me share my screen so we can see.
All right.
They are three details. Two.
Shh, wait.
Okay, now
Over. Two.
open
Oh,
the
stop.
WSL.
Look, what the heck it is? Oh.
I should open my WXL.
I mean, open
What's that?
Google
Oh,
store. I mean, App Store. Google, is it App Store or what? Google. No, Microsoft Store. Sorry, not Google. Microsoft Store. I can't see the full of your screen, so it's difficult for me.
Microsoft Store.
It's supposed to be in your computer, so search on your computer, not on Google.
Oh, see. There. Do this. Do this. Do red. Do what's that?
I don't have it. I'm having but Microsoft Edge and Microsoft Store here. Here is it.
Sorry, I was talking when I was muted. Sorry. So, Madam Terence, can you search for Ubuntu on that search bar?
Ubuntu.
Yes. Madam and Mary, I was just saying that this is something I also try. I mean, it's very convenient as compared to operating system sometimes for learning practice.
Is
Take
it this
22.
one?
Take 22. Go down. You see 22 LTS. Yeah, that. Take that. And then get it. So I can get installed.
Mr. Mike, your speaker is echoing.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah,
No, I don't get it.
I get it. I get the echo sound from you.
Wow, why is that happening?
It's
No, it
okay
did
now.
happen, but it stopped now. It
It's
did
okay
happen.
now. It's okay now. It's
Okay.
clear now.
All right, okay. Very good. All right, take gate. That gate option. Then let it install. Installing. If you could really get everything of this ready, that would be amazing. Now you can do some work. Yep.
Okay. Should I go ahead and open it? Mr. Maggie has finished downloading.
I think he stepped away.
If anybody knows what next I should do, then you guys should go ahead.
Sorry, I was
Just
talking.
I think hit the open.
Let's go. So take open. And then once you take open, minimize the interface. All right.
I
So
should do
now
what?
we're going to ask you for a password. Let's see. Press any key to continue. You say error directory failed with error that Linux has not been enabled. So virtualization is not enabled on your system. That's another story. Click enter. It's going to exit. So
Yeah,
for that's something that we are going to meet maybe after the session, and then try to take a look at it, because visualization is something that you might not be able to. Sometimes you never need a computer to be off. So for now, you are just going to follow. So Mr. Killian, you are going to use yours the way it is for now. Why? Yeah, we're going to. Any other thing, we're going to have a time abstract class so we can do some work, a little bit at least, to understand, to lay the foundation for Linux. Right. So I mean, before I actually get into it, I know that most people here do have an understanding, a little bit of understanding what is Linux. So I'm going to share my screen. I believe I have my own system that is up and running as well. Now I'm going to definitely open two options, since we have in class two options. We have in class Ubuntu, and we have in class, Amazon Linux. So I'm not going to necessarily open Amazon Linux. I'm going to open maybe another option that can enable me, so that when I demonstrate anything here, I can be able to also use that to demonstrate, so that the person that is having Amazon Linux can also follow along with the same thing. So with that, it's going to make life a bit easy. So on my screen, I do have my own local terminal. Let me see which other stuff I could take. Let me say Oracle Linux, which is the same as Amazon Linux. Let me see if it's running. Not running, I have to search and then start it. Okay, good. It's running. So what does that mean? It means at this point, so I have two systems. that we are going to start with. Now, what is Linux in the first place? That's the first question that we are going to ask, right? What is Linux? Can somebody, what do you guys understand by Linux in your own terms? Nobody. Anyway, in simple terms, Linux is an operating system. Right? Linux is an operating system. So can make enough space of me here so I can write. So what did we say? We ask what is Linux? That's the question. We ask. That's the first question. What is Linux? And we said Linux is an operating system. Operating system, right? Like any operating system, most of us here, we have used Windows, right? Just like Windows. Just like Windows. And basically, an operating system is what enables us to be able to interact, right, with our computer, because the computer is basically, the computer is made of a lot of other components like memory, RAM, which is RAM, and then storage, and other peripherals that are joined together to actually make up computer, CPU, and so on and so forth. However, for us to be able to, get information, interact with this computer, we need something, right? So we communicate. We need keyboards, and we need, for instance, an interface, an operating system that we can be able to see, communicate, and all that. So the operating system enables us to be able to interact, right? So enable us to be able to interact. Without that, it's not going to be possible. We're going to have things. Before the coming of operating system, like, for instance, Windows, it was difficult for a common man to use computer, because in those days, they did have, for instance, things like, they did have Unix, and it was very expensive, difficult to manage, because everything is command line based, right? So with the coming of Linux, it simplified things. And most of us here, we do have computers that are using what? Linux operating system. And what I always say is that Linux is an operating system for a common, how will I put it? Any common user. But in the world of tech, they don't use Linux. In the world of, Windows, in the world of tech, they use Linux. And there are a lot of reasons why they use Linux, right? There are a lot of reasons why they use Linux. First, because Linux is cheap. Linux is cheap, right? And it is most secure. It is not only cheap, but it's the most secured operating system that you will see, right? And also, one of the advantages with Linux is that you use command line instead of using, a graphical user interface, as is the case with Windows, right? Linux uses command line. Command line, right? As compared to Windows. As compared to Windows. And why is that important? Command line basically remove the problem that we have, for instance, overheat, right? So when we use graphical user interface, graphical user interfaces basically consumes a lot of memory, consumes a lot of CPU, and slow down. So that's why most applications that use heavy graphical user interfaces are always sometimes slow, right? So, but with the help of command line, we can be able to do a lot in Linux without having to use a graphical user interface, right? We use just a command line, give commands, you know, create the stuff, administer Linux and do stuff without having to use the GUI, graphical user interface. So it makes the process, right, faster. Now, if you look at with the help of Windows, we are able, right, we are able to communicate, right? And it is easy to use because everybody can do click, 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 and all that stuff are easy. But Windows is slow. It does not have the capability and the flexibility of Linux. That's why in most, you know, in the corporate world and IT world, they use what? In the tech world, they use mostly Linux because it's fast, it's efficient, it's secured, right? And also, it is free. You don't have to pay for it. It is open source and it is free, right? If you decide maybe to go in for enterprise solutions, you might go in with things like maybe, you know, Red Hat, you know, which is enterprise and all that. You can pay maybe enterprise version of some of those operating systems, but at the basic, it is free as compared to Windows. Just getting a license for a Windows operating system and maintaining is a lot of money, right? Which is not even going to give you what you are going to get with Linux. So Linux is free, it is open source, it is more secure, it is most reliable, it is fast. And that's why they mainly use Linux in the corporate world. So knowing Linux is not an option, it's a must. Now, talking about Linux, right, there is a lot of history and go back. Linux was actually developed by, I think, somebody called Leibniz and all that. It was, right? So there's a lot you can go into that, but that's not the history we need here. Basically, we need to understand why Linux, why do we prefer Linux? And also what type of Linux flavors are there. Talking about Linux, right, there are different flavors. Just like Madame Mary mentioned, right, she mentioned that she is using Amazon Linux, right? So she used Amazon Linux, right? Yes. Where's my... Oh, once I'm, if I'm doing any stuff, you can jot it down so that if it disappear like this one, you don't have to worry. Amazon Linux. I don't know what I told this giving me now. All right. These tools are really crazy. Not happening. All right, so let's continue. Without that, so I've talked about Linux, and we want to talk about some flavors of Linux that are there. I really wish this. Okay, let's go.
When you say flavors, what is that? You talk about like the different distributions?
Yes. Linux have different flavors. Right, so we have, for instance, Red Hat. Red Hat Linux. Right, and this Red Hat Linux, normally it falls under what we call Red Hat distribution. Red Hat distribution. There's Debian base, and then there is what again? Debian base. Yeah, and then Red Hat based distros. Right, so Red Hat distributions. So under Red Hat distributions, what do we have? We have, for instance, right, Oracle Linux itself. We have Red Hat. Yeah, we have Red Hat. We have, CentOS. We have, for instance, Amazon Linux. We have Amazon Linux, right? And many more, so you can name the rest. That is under the Red Hat distribution. Now, under Debian base distributions, Debian base distros, right? This is important because sometimes at the interview, they're going to ask you what type of, what Linux operating system have you worked with? And sometimes maybe the one you to say, oh, I've worked with CentOS, I've worked with, Oracle, Red Hat, and all that. You can give those as example. So when you are talking about them, you can talk about it in two categories. You say, yeah, you have worked with Debian-based and Red Hat-based distros. For instance, Ubuntu, right? For instance, Oracle Linux, Red Hat, Amazon Linux, and all that. The person that's interviewing you would automatically know that you have actually worked, right? But if they ask you what distro you have worked with, you go and say, okay, I work with Red Hat. It's okay, it's acceptable, but right, it's not going to make more sense, and it's going to limit you, maybe just for Red Hat, and which is not supposed to be like that. So first, you need to understand that there are two. They talk about distributions, because sometimes when people are talking about this, they confuse. There's a difference between Linux version and Linux distribution. A version can be, for instance, Red Hat, right? There are different versions of Red Hat. Likewise, you have different versions of Oracle Linux up to, I think, 9 point something, right? And Amazon Linux has versions too, CentOS and so on. So those are versions of a particular specific category, unlike a distribution. A distribution has to do with the code, underlying code that runs that particular operating system. What does that mean? Those means under the distribution of Red Hat, CentOS, Oracle Linux, Amazon Linux, and many more that are there use the same code. And they use the same underlying operating systems. Maybe they just take the code, modify it to suit their business, but it works the same, right? If you use Yum or NFD on Oracle Red Hat, it's going to work same on Ubuntu. On the Red Hat, it's going to work same on Oracle Linux. It's going to work same on CentOS, and it's going to work same on Amazon Linux. So the same code will work across all the systems. So if they ask you in an interview, have you worked with Oracle Linux? Have you worked with? So yeah, you should be open to say I've worked with this system, because yes, you know them. If you have worked with one, you can work with all of them, because any code you're going to write on one is going to work on all that. So you shouldn't see because they mention maybe CentOS, or they mention maybe Amazon Linux or Oracle or something Red Hat, and you are like, oh no, I haven't worked with it. If you have worked with CentOS, no, you have worked with Oracle Linux. If you have worked with CentOS, you have worked with Amazon Linux and so on. That's the logic. So first, what do? You need to understand what does it mean by distributions. Sometimes, in most cases, most people that interview you, sometimes they will not understand this technical jargon when dealing with operating systems, especially Linux in particular. Unless a Linux expert, system administrator expert who is going to understand this thing, but if it's just another DevOps engineer, most I'll tell you like 80% will not even understand these jargons. But it's at your own benefit if you know them and you're able to display them, right? In such a way that with admiration, they will admire you, and those are the things that are going to earn you the points. That's why you need to know when talking about them, right? And then be able to distinguish between a version and a distribution. Because even sometimes in the interview, they are going to confuse you between a version. They will ask you what version of Linux have you worked with, instead of asking you what distributions have you worked with. Right? It's fair to ask what operating system, what Linux operating system have you worked with. That makes sense. Because you could say, okay, I've worked with Red Hat, I've worked with Ubuntu, I've worked with that. That is Linux. But of categories of distributions, there are different distributions. So the two main is Red Hat distribution and the Debian-based distribution. And on Debian-based, what do we have? We have Ubuntu. We have Debian itself. Just like you saw over there, we had Red Hat distribution, but we have Red Hat itself. Debian, we have, for instance, Linux Mint. We have Linux Mint. We have Fedora. We have, yeah, and many more. Right, just a lot, right? I can't remember everything, but there are a lot. Now, in the world of Linux, what I'm going to also stress on is what? Is Ubuntu. Ubuntu basically takes at least like, I think 60 to 70% of the Linux world, in the corporate world. So what does that mean? Meaning that in most environments you're going to enter, you're most likely going to see Ubuntu. So the Ubuntu have the highest market share in the world of Linux, as followed by Red Hat. Right? Red Hat is an interbase, it's a company, and it provides what? Enterprise, Linux with additional capabilities and all that, right? It is a paid version, it's not free. So what does that mean? Red Hat owns about maybe 30-something to 40%, I believe, but around 30-something, Red Hat entered something. Ubuntu earned like 60-something, and then the rest can come in any order. So those are the things that you need to note here. So, and you also need to be able to distinguish what is the difference between a distribution and a version, right? And also different types of Linux operating systems, right? So that is a brief.
Question, Mike.
Go ahead.
So if they ask you what version are you using, right?
Yeah.
What version of Linux are you using? So if you're using Red Hat, you just go directly to Red Hat, but you don't go back to you don't give the version of the distribution that you're using, right?
Yeah, as far as distribution is concerned, distribution doesn't have a version. The operating system have a
okay.
version. For instance,
Okay.
Red Hat,
Right.
I think Red Hat has about Red Hat 7 something now. The highest about Red Hat 7 or 8 and all that. Just like
I think it's 9.
having the highest now around 9 point something, right? So, and it started back then when I used to work with Oracle. Red Hat was still maybe 5 point something and all that. So that's how they keep improving and doing. Just like Ubuntu, we're having now Ubuntu 23. I think it's 23 or 24. Now, but the 23 is not actually used because it's not a long-term supporting version, right? So this the highest version that's used in production is Ubuntu 22, which is long-term support. That's long-term support. That one is stable, a stable version. Those are things that we're going to understand. So you will say, okay, if I'm using Ubuntu 20 or 22, that is the version, right? Now, if they ask you about the experience with Ubuntu, with Linux, you are going to tell them this, as a DevOps engineer, right? I've worked with, different flavors of Linux, right? So also another thing I will talk about flavors too. Flavors here can also comes in the form of, maybe Red Hat, Ubuntu and all that. So flavor, what flavors of Linux? That's a common phrase that they would use. What flavors of Linux have you worked with? That is a common phrase too. So you need to tell them, if they just ask you from a generic perspective, an open-ended question about Linux, you say, yeah, I have worked with Linux, right? This is what I have done. First, starting with, I've worked with, different distribution of Linux, both Red Hat based and Debian based distributions. For instance, like with Debian based, I've worked with Ubuntu, I've worked with maybe Linux Mint, I've worked with Fedora and so on. Could name the rest. And equally under Red Hat based, I've worked with Red Hat itself, I've worked with Oracle Linux, I've worked with, Amazon Linux and all that. Now, that is very good. They are going to understand that you actually understand what is Linux, what distributions are there, how it operates. They're not going to doubt you in that scenario when you give that answer, as compared to just somebody saying, I work with Red Hat. Maybe that's all you know about Linux, only Red Hat, but that's not what Linux is limited to. Do you see that? So once you don't always want to give a kind of minimalistic answers. That's why. So this, like, make sure that as we go about this class, you should have you are not jotting, because I will always emphasize on these things where answers are gonna always come. Right? I mean, what I emphasize with it based on my experience in the field and all that. Like, I've had those situations, some days I would teach a topic like this, and sometimes a recruiter calls me and we're just discussing the same thing that I'm teaching in class here like this. And I will not count the number of times. So that's why whatever thing I emphasize on is I see, and even if you go to Google and you Google questions, you will see those similar questions that are going to be asking you all the time. So please make sure to jot them down whenever necessary. Yes, Mr. Mu?
Yes, I came across another distribution. I don't know whether it's a distribution, SUSE or SUSE. This is SUSE.
Yes.
I think I came across it a week ago. I don't know whether is it also one of the distribution.
SUSE, I don't really know much about SUSE, but as far as I know about SUSE, I know about SUSE related to this thing they call what again? It's a Kubernetes related tool, management tool. So it's
Yes,
like,
because I came across it when I was working with something in Kubernetes, but they told me that it's a distribution. It starts with it's a Linux distribution or something like that.
yeah. So I mean, I can't say much about that, but I've forgotten that thing. What is that tool again? Yeah, I've forgotten that tool, but I don't know if SUSE is categorized as
A distribution.
distribution or not.
Linux distribution.
Yeah, but as far as I know, there are two main popular distributions, which is Red Hat based and Debian based distributions. And I believe SUSE in itself will fall under the category of Debian. That's something I will need to check again. But it has I think free or something, and then it has also enterprise version, because it provides a particular solution, right? So, and I don't think I have more in the open source domain to talk about when it has to do with SUSE. I've forgotten the tool I wanted to talk about, but I've not actually go into SUSE that much. Right. So I would advise, let's stick to those two that we know that they are popular and acceptable. I hope that that's clear. All right. Now, so talking about Linux, that is a little more so about it, understanding this concept. I don't know if there's any other question regarding this concept. If there are no questions, we are going to go in and start seeing how to work with some of these things, right? And then any additional explanation is going to come in the process of us working and all that. So we are going to have where we'll discuss and then go in and do some work and so on, demonstrate and all that. At the basic level, understand this and be able to talk about them with confidence. So, any questions about this?
Oh, I just check. I just want to add something to what Mr. Mike Moore asked about the SUSE. SUSE. I just check it there. It says it's a Linux enterprise distribution.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, check also under what category does it fall? Right? Is it on its own independent? I don't know why this tool. I know of SUSE is popular with a particular solution. That is that tool. What is this? I will not remember. Check on something. Local PS. What do I have here? There's a tool I want to talk about it, but it's slipping off my mind. I believe I should be in my list here. It's not showing either. Okay. I don't know. The name of the tool is just slipping off my mind, but I just thought I do have it somewhere.
SUSE is a distribution by itself. It doesn't fall under Debian or Red Hat.
Okay.
It stands on its own.
All
It
right.
stands on its own and it does not have version. Does not have like
Uh-huh.
let me say derivatives like you have Red Hat, you have other derivatives under it like CentOS and
Yes.
Oracle. Yes, it's
Okay.
just isolated. It's
All
on
right.
itself. Mhm.
That is a good one then. So, anyway, that tool I wanted to, which is highly used. It is built on source. It's a Kubernetes solution that's highly used, highly on demand out there. I'm going to see it. So I wanted to show you, and I know that source is what it is built on, but I've never known how source is related to other distributions either. So that's a good one. So it's good to know about it, right? Yeah, so
Yes.
that if it necessitates for you to talk about it, you can talk about it. But if you don't know, don't go into it. Just stay on your lane. Avoid any.
I just brought up that one to change the number from
No,
two to three.
I will
Mhm.
still advise when you go, just stick to 3. I mean to 2, not 3. When
Yes,
you
there's also a way of avoiding the
yes,
number to say that the two main distributions, somebody might be an expert in that area. You just say that the distributions you have worked with, it should be what? It should be maybe Red Hat, Linux, and Debian base. It will
yeah.
be
So
easy
yeah,
to
you can
avoid
talk about
you.
it that way,
Yes,
but
yes, you can
I would
avoid saying that main
say
because
stick to
you don't
that.
know what the person knows as main different main type distributions.
All right, yeah, that's good. So yeah. So let's continue, right? So now in Linux, we are going to go in now too. So don't worry about all this. I was looking for a tool, but the tool is not here. The name, I don't know why the name I just slipped over my mind so badly. So in Linux, there are common things that we need to know in Linux, right? How do we interact with Linux? We interact with Linux through a command line, right? Through bash or shell, right? So this is what we use for Linux, right? Like you see here, I am in my Linux operating system. And the first thing that you enter in Linux, sometimes you want to list. List here is basically how do you see the location to which you are, and how do you know what files or directories are there? So in Linux, you have the list command, right? The list command is a command that's used in Linux, right? And you can list, right? List here in Linux is just like the double click that you have on Windows. When you want to go into a file, when you want to see the data, what do you do? You go, you click on the file. When you click on the file, you want to go into a file, you double click. So list, right? Anyway, it's not like double click, it's just like displaying the information. So you can list in the horizontal or vertical, right? So in order to list horizontally, what do? You can use your ls command, and it's going to list things in a horizontal manner, files and the directories. Likewise, you can use ll to list in a vertical manner, right? And this is going to display additional information for you. For instance, like the owner, the group, and then the date where that file was created or modified. So it's going to give you additional information. When you do LL, that's double L, as compared to when you do LS, right? Likewise, you can also do LS hyphen, RTL, right? You realize it's going to also give you additional information, right? These are commands that you're going to use, right? It's going to give you additional information, like for instance, the permissions owned by that file, who owns the permission, is it the user, the owner, the group, or and so on and so forth. And equally, who is the group? What is the group name, date of modification, and some additional information and all that, right? So likewise, you can do ls hyphen, I think A, right? ls hyphen L is still going to give you in the same as you've seen with ls hyphen RTL. So this is different ways that you can use to list display information on the Linux operating system, right? And likewise, there are just a lot of ways, right? What are other ways? ls, let me say, hyphen A is going to give you both hidden files and all files. Now in Linux, most often you will see the dot file, for instance, dot bash, dot bash roc and so on, which are things I'm going to talk about as far as the Linux file system is concerned, right? And we're going to also look at how does it differ from the Windows file system. In Windows, we have what? We have the C drive. But in Linux, we do not have the C drive. We have the root directory, and the root directory is basically this sign, is sign a ./. So it does not have, for instance, disk drives, as is the case, like the C drive. The C drive is the root of Linux, of Windows. That means everything within Windows originate from the C drive. If you install application within the Windows operating system without specifying a particular location, it's going to automatically by default install within the C drive. That's not the case with Windows. Windows doesn't have drives. Instead, Windows have what? The root directory. It have directories. And that's why we are going to, in this process, understand what is the directory structure of Windows and some important directories, so that when you are working within Linux, you need to be more careful, right? Now, the directory structure might differ also from different distributions, as you've seen, right? But they are similar and they store the same information. For instance, this bash.rc is common in most. Bash, history. Here we don't have bash profile, right? But in Oracle base, in the Red Hat based system, instead of just this, they have what I call the bash profile that contains all the same information that is in this bash RC file, right? We're going to look at that. So I'm simply talking about how you can maneuver a system. When you are on your operating system on the command line, how do you go about it? You can be able to list to display information to see where you are and so on and so forth, right? So as I am discussing and talking, why I believe most of us have our systems. This is going to work the same on Red Hat as you have seen here. If I go here, right, and I do ls, it's going to work L let's say ls, is going to work. So I don't have anything, but I can say I want to create some file. I will say mkdir. I know I was some folders. I would say maybe, directories D1, D2, D3, D4, D5. D stands for directory. And I can create. And now if I list, it's going to list out those directories. Right? So you see that I have 5 directories. And if I list with LA, you're going to also see it's going to list them horizontally with more details information like the directory owner, the permissions, the file owner, the user and the user groups and all that, and also dates of modification, right? So you will see all that. You see the date of modification. You will see an ID, the identifier, and so on. That is it the user ID or the group ID, something like that. So you see all those details that you will not see when you use ls. Likewise, I could also use ls-RTL, as you have seen it elsewhere. ls-RTL, as you have seen it elsewhere. You're going to see that it's going to give me more here. Now, if I do ll-a is going to give me now more detailed information. I will also see that just like we saw on the Ubuntu system, we can see the bash.rc here. And additionally, the bash.rc, you could see the bash profile, right? And the bash history, the bash logs, right? So on Ubuntu, we didn't see bash profile. Was there any bash profile? When we do ll, for instance, -a, is there any bash profile? We don't have bash profile here. We have a bash rc. Bash rc and bash rc here, but in Linux, they have bash profile, right? So it works the same when you have to do it. But however, if I wanted to update, I would here on Red Hat, what do? I would do sudo yum update, right? I could say y means I want it to automatically do the update. I don't want it to prompt me to accept, right? But if I want it to prompt me, I could just say so, and it's going to prompt me. Now, first, I'm going to put my password, and then let's see. Now it's going to go ahead to update. Somehow it's going to prompt me whether if I want it or not. Now, the same here. If I take this file, you see, and I run it on Linux, I mean on Ubuntu is not going to recognize it, because Yum is not the package manager for Linux, for Ubuntu. It is a package manager for, Red Hat. You see, it says Yum is not found. So in order for me to achieve that, I will say sudo apt and then update. You see that? So it's going to now say, okay, it's going to update because it recognized operating system. It recognized app because app is its part, right? App is the package manager. So now, basically, these two different distributions, they use different package managers. They use different package managers. Yum or DNF for Red Hat base, and then for Ubuntu, we do have apt-get or apt.
Okay.
And we also have another one called what again, like that? Snap, is it Snap or something like that? Right? Now you see, it's prompting me whether if you should go ahead to upgrade. I need to accept. How I use my -y? If I had used -y, it would not have prompted me. Would have just gone ahead and then update everything. Now, so I need to put y and then I click enter. Y means approved or yes, go ahead or proceed. Right? So here it is failing because of some repositories that it seems it cannot find information about it updated in history and all that. So, right, that's something that you can fix. But what is that? I'm simply saying that there is what we call the what we call package managers, right? And you need to understand. In an interview, they might ask you experience to do with Linux. What type of what package managers have you used, right? Now, package managers are basically things that you could use to manage your application, install or uninstall. In Windows, most often we use, we download application, we click, double click, and then next, and update. Now, if I ask you guys, who knows what is the package manager of Windows? Who knows what is the package manager of Windows?
Don't know.
Probably doesn't have it.
It does. The package manager of Windows is Chocolatey.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that, yeah.
Which therefore means you can also okay, let's say if I want to install sudo, let me say sudo apt install, what am I installing? Let me say I want to install Ansible. Let me just say Ansible here. It might fail because Ansible needs some prerequisite. That is, for instance, an example, right? So this is going to install Ansible for me. Yes, I want to install Ansible. It install. So if I had to install this Ansible on Linux, on Windows, what would I do? I have to download it and then click next. But on Windows, I don't have to do that, right? Likewise here, if I want to install the same Ansible, I will say what? Sudo yum install Ansible. Ansible, do you see that? Let's see. The dependencies are different, so it might fail here because the operating system. So you see, it didn't work here because it's not the same. The package manager might not recognize it using the name Ansible. It might be another way. Right now, what if I say, let's say sudo apt install Python? I mean sudo yum install Python. For instance, let's just try that. Considering that Python is a prerequisite that's needed, right? It says that what?
Install was no. You didn't spell it right. Install.
Okay, let me see.
Install is you wrote is instead of ins.
Thank you. Install Python. Let's see. Right, so now it's prompting me. I say yes, I want to install Python. So it's installing Python. As simple as that. Now I can try again. Sudo apt no yum. Or you can use DNF. DNF is the same. So DNF is the modern, the new version, right? DNF install Ansible, right? So you can use DNF or yum, and it does the same thing on Red Hat-based distributions. So it does not recognize. So now you would have to check how does they refer to Ansible, right? How does the Ansible package look like on this system? You need to get the right name, because as now it's not recognizing what is Ansible. It doesn't mean that it knows Ansible may be through another name, right? That's why you cannot get it here. But here on Ubuntu, right, we are able to install Ansible with no issues. You see, it's installing Ansible and setting it up, right? So what is that? That is what we call the package managers. Now, please take note. I said in an interview, they are most probably going to ask you questions if it has to relate with Linux. What package managers have you used, right? So at least you should know what is you have apt-get, right? DNF, yum, and maybe any others that you will learn along that you get to. But those are the popular ones when you are doing with these distributions of Linux of Debian and Red Hat.
Is apt-get separated?
Sorry?
When you're using apt-get, you separate it?
Yes.
Yeah, so with apt-get, apt-get.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so apt-get is the older version, apt is the newer version. So it's just an upgrade, right? So you can use apt-get, it will still work. You can use Snap. Snap is another one. It's still new and all that, right? There are some applications that you might not have in app, but you can be able to install them using Snap and so on. You're going to see that sometimes when you try to install something with app, it's going to tell you that no, it doesn't exist. Can you try Snap? Those are package managers that we got to know. So
You were giving the definition of a package manager. So and it seems something distracted you.
So
So
I
can you
say
come
that
again?
package managers are basically used, right? The best way in this definition is, I don't know why stipulative definition or what. So package manager, by example, whatever. Package manager are basically what you use within the Linux operating system to manage, the underlying applications, like for instance, installation, upgrading, or deleting, and so on and so forth, right? So package managers are basically what you use. Like you have seen me install Ansible. I use sudo app, right? I do not go to Google and download and come and try to install it. There are many ways that you can do this. You can actually go to Google, download. You can use, for instance, wget and things like, curl commands to download and then install and do a process manually. But the package manager automate the process for you. If I had to do this manually, I will have to first of all go download Ansible. I will come and I'll upload Ansible to this system, and then I will unzip the package, and then I will run some executable commands for me to install Ansible. But with the package manager, I don't have to do that. I basically specify I want to install. Right now, for instance, if I say sudo systemctl, sudo systemctl status Ansible. Let's see, status Ansible. Sudo systemctl. Is it Ansible status or status Ansible? Systemctl.
No, it should be Ansible status
Not
or Ansible.
Ansible status.
The first one was okay, sir.
Yeah, so I don't know why. Let me this sudo systemctl status Ansible. Ansible. Okay, now let's say sudo service Ansible. There's another command, Ansible status. So Ansible status.
The spelling of Ansible.
I'm so good in these typos, eh? Ansible status. Okay, still. So I don't know. Sure, Ansible is not running for somehow.
You could have checked something. You could have checked something that you're sure that you have installed in your system, like Jenkins.
Service. Ansible status. Yeah. Yeah, so Ansible is not showing, which is okay. Okay. Unrecognized says status unrecognized service. Let me see. Okay, let's say sudo service start Ansible. Let's see. It might not be running start Ansible. All right. It's an unrecognized service. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Is service the same as systemctl?
Yes, they're the same. Sudo systemctl status Ansible. Anyway, that is okay. So I just wanted to check, right? For us, we could quickly check the status, but since we will not install Ansible using, following the process, we just write this, right? Consider that there are a lot of prerequisites for Ansible, at least Python is a prerequisite and all that, we need those things. So maybe it's not running at this point, but I wanted to quickly show if it could run, you could have seen that, right? But it's not running, that's okay. So what am I saying? Package managers are used to install packages. And when you install packages, you can actually see the packages running here, right? So I don't have a package now like Ansible running. That's why we cannot see any status. Now, away from package managers, just understand what is a package manager. Can you explain to somebody what's a package manager? If so, we can go into the level of understanding now, how do we create and manage files and directories within the Linux operating system, which is the most important thing. And the most important part that your role as a DevOps engineer is going to come in. Because sometimes you need to do modification, make changes and all that within files or configurations and so on, right? We are going to go to the level of administering Linux permissions and doing all that stuff, creating users, deleting users, and doing all the Linux administration related kind of stuff. But at the basic level, you should be comfortable creating files, creating directories, managing permissions within those directories, changing permissions ownership, right? And granting permissions within those directories and all that. Though at work as a DevOps engineer, I'm not going to be in that position to granting permissions. That's definitely going to be maybe going to the system admin guy, but you need to know how to do it yourself, just in case. Because I've seen how sometimes in one company, they would have one person do all those things themselves. That's why you need Linux, right? Even if you don't know that advanced stuff, you need those basics and comfortable to maneuver Linux. So in Linux,
what I was trying to do, what you were trying to do, I can do it with my own, but with Jenkins, because my Jenkins is up.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I just wanted to demonstrate. We're going to come to that. We have not yet started treating, for instance, at installing applications and creating services or managing them, stopping and all that.
I was just talking with the one that is in my system.
Yeah, I was just trying to quickly demonstrate. Once you install the application, if it's running, you can be able to see the status and all that, right? So, but we're going to come to that. That's more advanced ahead. So I just wanted to quickly show. That's okay. Now, first, in Linux, we do have what we call folders, and we do have what we call files. What are files? Files are basically where you store data, right? For instance, let me see, I'm going to create a folder, mkdir is what we use in the command that is used to create a directory, and it's called make directory. So mk stands for make and dir stands for directory, make directory. What does that mean? I'm going to call this class. Let me just call it class, so that going forward, I'll be working within this particular directory for my demo. Because I have other folders, I don't want to mess them up. Yep, let's say class. Yes, I'm going to call it. Now, if I list, there's a lot, but however, now I've created a class directory. We know it exists, right? And I want to go into that class directory. And for me to clear my screen, when it is dirty, I use the command clear to clear all the dirty stuff and all that. Now, I am going to cd into my directory. What was it? Class,
yeah.
And then I'm in class, and within class, I have nothing. Now, that is a directory, right? In Windows, we call it folders. Directories are the same as folders. So in Linux, we call it directories. In Windows, we call it folders. But if I call it folder, don't confuse, it's the same thing. Now I'm into my directory. At this point, I want to create some file because files are always stored within directories, right? Especially in Linux, right? You organize your computer into folders. Different folders contain different information. Let's say in this class now, we're going to handle different type of subjects, right? We are talking about Linux. You can create a folder or a directory called Linux, create another one called maybe Jenkins, and so on and so forth. And then you could organize your class material in that manner. Now, in order to create, we use a command called touch. In order to create a file, we use a command called touch, and I'm going to call it F1. That stands for file. And if I list, you are going to see that I have a file called F1. Now, how can I see the content of this file? In order to see the content of this file, I will use a command called cat. Right? I can say cat. I can
F1.
say, now there's nothing because I don't have no information there. So I can enter this file using another tool called, file editor. There are different types of file editors out there, right? But the most commonly used is Vim, and what is the other one? We have
Nano.
Vim and we have Nano.
Nano.
Yes. So I'm going to say Vim. VI, Vim, Nano. There is another one called what? And this is going to open. When you create a file, what do? You open the file. Once the file opens, I can be able to say, okay, I want to put in some information. Right? So in order to go into the editing mode, interactive mode, you click I. I stands for interactive. And from there, I can be able to say, let's say welcome to the Linux class, for instance.
All right, you're welcome.
Yeah, welcome to the Linux class. Let's say get ready, for this beautiful ride. Should I call it just some random stuff, right? So we are going to be into it. And then just like that random, and then I'll click escape, column, and then column, and then W, Q. W stands for right.
WQ stands for,
Yeah, and then Q stands for exit or quit. So you're saying that you want that it should write and then exit. Now, at this point, earlier, we cut and there was nothing in there. What if I cut again? Remember, if I cut now, you're going to see all the information that was written. Welcome, right? So the cut command is basically used to display the content of a file. The Vim command is used to edit a file. The Vim tool, right? Vim is a command, but it is from a tool called Vim. It's a file editor. So another question that they may ask you in an interview are, what are some of the file editors that you are using in Linux? Right, there are a lot. There are some that are graphical. There are some that are just command line based. But at least you should be able to state two. At least Vim and Nano. State that somewhere.
Ask the question again, sir.
Nano. What are some of the file editors you have used in Linux?
File edit.
You will talk about Vim and you will talk about Nano. Those are the common used file editors that are out there. Are there questions?
Do not show us how to escape from the file serve and
you use escape and then column and then
X.
WQ. Oh, yeah.
X.
Yeah. Yep. Oh. There is my Zoom. Are there questions?
You muted yourself.
Are there questions, please? No questions?
You said the cat file, the cat was to display the information in a file, right?
Content. File content. Mr. Killian,
Yes.
I'm saying that the file content.
Okay.
Yeah, when you cut anytime you opens the file.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. That's good. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Do we still have Mrs. Mary and Mrs. Teres?
That's just what I wanted to ask.
I'm right here. You know that I'm just lost behind you guys.
No, when you lost, don't let us go because you keep accumulating. Don't let us go
The
forward.
thing is, since I didn't have the Ubuntu account to start following up with you guys, so I've been
Yeah,
trying
but
to log in on a
this is what you
on a
can do.
laptop. Sorry.
Madam,
No,
Madam
that
Teres,
can
this
be
is what
up.
you can do. You can just be jotting down, even after that you struggle to troubleshoot it and you get along.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I'm here. Oh.
Shoot.
If you do it within the class, you're gonna get lost because you'll be doing what we'll be doing something that will come past. I'm in the same situation like you, but I'm just writing my notes down so that when I get to there, when I get to do it, I'm not gonna be lost in anything.
Is
You
Madam
see
Mary
what I was
there?
trying to do my computer was
Madam
not.
Mary is here.
Okay.
Mhm.
At least we should be we should be making so that we should know that we are all in line.
This is a small team. I like a small team like this. It's easy. Please, if I ask a stupid question and I say something stupid in class about the class, trust
Yeah.
me, because I don't know. So we should
No,
not
it is
say
the
that.
best. It's just like a group work now.
It's
It's now like a group work. It's easy for us to go over.
All right. Okay, Mr. Mu. What is the right name for? What is the best name for you to be called?
Actually, my name is Michael Finingang Mu.
Okay.
I know you very well, Mr. Killian. Just that you don't know me.
Where are you at?
That's what I want.
Where are you at? Let me know where you are right now.
I'm with Michael, yeah.
You are in this country.
Yes, I'm sitting with Michael, yeah.
The Finningang was getting me lost, but the Mu, yes, I was thinking, but I didn't want to think that far. No, don't tell me. I know who you are right now.
Yeah.
When I heard that name, Michael, now I know who you are right now.
Okay.
Okay, this is a question I was gonna ask. I don't know if Mike is there. The Vim command, the Vim editor and the Nano editor is kind of different, right? It's the text editor which works differently.
I don't actually see them to work differently because I've been using them. I just interchange and use them. There's no particular situation that I decide to use a particular one. So for me, for the moment now, they're almost the same.
When you use Nano, do you use like you want to save the file and
when you use Nano, you still get into the editing space. You still use the interactive mode. You write the message that you have to do, and you.
All right.
So I think that the teacher can help us with that.
Sorry. Let's continue. Yeah, Mr. Killian, I heard the question, and I could see another person have a hand over as well. So let me, Nano and Vim are two different editing tools, right? So they do the same thing, but just like two different tools, the way that you edit, right? Let me again. I will share and demonstrate that. Yeah, Madam Mary, please go ahead with your question. Why I go to that? Madam Mary, can you hear me? You are mute.
Yes, Prof, I can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
No, so I wasn't raising my hand for you because when you were out, we were all talking. I was just going to ask that, is there a way we could have like a group chat since you have everybody's number so that we could also form like a study group? We're just having meaningful conversations.
Oh yeah, so we are going to create a WhatsApp group that's only the people in this class. There's a WhatsApp group. Why I don't want to just add you to that group is because if I add you to that group, everybody in that group wants to come attend this class, and it's gonna disrupt the whole thing. And equally, normally the official tool that we use for communication is Slack, not WhatsApp. But sometimes at the beginning, it's difficult for people to use Slack. So that's why I didn't just start off by creating a Slack channel to have people join. So yeah, we can create a WhatsApp group. We'll create a WhatsApp group and add everybody. And then we'll have any communications on that group going forward. I hope that helped.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Mike.
Yes, please.
Then for the lectures of today, where are we gonna access it?
All right. So I'm going to share a site, right, for all of you. So I'm still having 1 or 2 configurations to complete, so that immediately after this class, like the videos is going to be available on that site, so you can watch it at any time, right, anywhere. And then the notes as well is going to be as part of the video, so that you can be able to follow along, right? Everything of discourse and all that with the video as well. So you have all that on that site, right? So actually, this site is actually separated from the Paradigm website. Actually, we used to host everything on Paradigm website, but for now, we are looking into maybe doing some changes in the website, and we still have some work to do. So this is going to be a completely different site that I'm going to be using. And this one is going to be just for the class access when it has to do with materials, videos, and any related stuff like that. Sorry, you have to get some water. So, yeah, back to your question Mr. Killian was asking.
Yes.
The question I was asking, the concern I was having was, okay, yeah, I know that Nano and Vim, they're text editors, but when you want to save, when you use Nano to save, when you use Vim to save and then quit, you use WQ, right?
Yes.
And then when you use Nano, do you use the same one, the same WQ?
No, because it doesn't work the same. Now, let's say there are different ways. I've shown you one way you can create a file using the touch command. However, you can create a file using, for instance, the file editor. Let's say Nano. I want to create a file called Killian. Right, Killian, for instance. Nano is going to open up that file for me. Do you see? So this is how Nano opens up. Nano is different from Vim. And I could say, you know what? Just like I did the other, welcome to the DevOps training. This thing, see, I'm not very efficient in typing. Well, welcome to the DevOps training, for instance. That is something that we have done, right? I've done that. So now in Nano, you're going to click Control. Do you see that? So here, if you look at the bottom, you see some instructions giving you. You say, I'm going to write. You click what? Write and then something like that. So you're going to click Control O. Do you see that? And then you click Enter. Yeah. And then you're going to click now Control X to X out. And that is all about serving in Nano.
Okay.
So
All right.
what do
That
you
answered
do?
my question. Yeah.
Nano, let me give another file. Let me call this Mary, right? This is a file for Mary. And I enter. What do? I will say, hey, welcome to the DevOps training, for instance, right? And I'm going to do Control O, enter, and then Control X. And now if you look at now, what do I do? How many files do I have? I have a file called Killian, I have another one called Mary. Do you see that now? If I cut, you are going to see what is the saying, welcome to DevOps training. Likewise, if I cut this one, you are going to also see welcome to DevOps training. There is also an option where sometimes you use the cut command. So you say cut, I think that there was the file, let's say test. No, I don't think, and then something. It's not right. I've forgotten that hard cut command from my works. Let me say, okay, test. And this card, let's say test, and then let me see. All right. Now, let's listen and see. Now, so that I have created another one called Mike. And that Mike, what is basically there? Did it not? Okay, test. Yeah, this format is a little bit complicated. I've forgotten how to do that. So you can actually use the cut command and you would use it to create a file at the same time, insert some information to that file at the same time, right? So that's the process. But I mean, you don't need to know all that. If you know how to create a cut, that's a little bit advanced with, for instance, mkdir. I mean, your file with mkdir, dir, and you know how to create your files. That's the directory. You know how to create a file with the touch command. You know how to use the cut command to go into that file. You know how to use the Vim editor. You know how to use maybe the Vim or Nano, anyone that you're comfortable with. Right? It's up to you to choose. Right? Earlier, I used to use only Vim. So, and somehow along the way, I decided to adopt Nano to add to it because sometimes Nano is flexible, right, and easy for me. So it all depends. So sometimes I use anyone that I want to use at any time, right? So at that point, if you know how to do this, right, think that you are gradually beginning to get into somewhere. And away from that, so what am I going to say? I'm going to say, give an assignment. Since we are at on top of of the hour, which is past 5. That before the next class, please get yourself, create files, folders using this. So that once we come in the next class, we are going to dive into understanding the complete file system of Linux, and then we are going to dive into additional creating and managing of files. For instance, maneuvering from one file to another. A good example, creating multiple files, like I say, okay, mkdir dir-p, right? Let me say I want to create a file. Let me just say, okay, Mike1 / so I will just create some random files. See that?
What is that -p for?
So when you want to create a file with a folder with subfolders.
Oh, okay.
You use the -p option. Now I have created this folder, this file, let's say Mike. If I listen, you see that there's a folder now called Mike1. Now, if I can see with the help of this tree command, I can be able to now see that within tree is not there. So I will say sudo apt install tree, right? Quickly, and then let's see. I'm going to install the tree utility, which I'm going to use to visualize the tree. Just like we'll talk about the family tree, right? We'll talk about whether the company tree or whatever tree, right? There is, the root, the branches, and everything. Now, in this scenario, our root is the mic1 folder. Within the mic1 folder, there are subfolders, and we can be able to visualize. We can see that with the help of the tree command. This is important because you can be looking for some particular directory, but you are thinking this directory might be within this folder. How can I see it? Right? It's always to be going into each and every one of them and coming back. You can use the tree command and then you say, okay, now, yeah, I was looking for this actually within this, and I can say, okay, now, what am I going to do? I can cd into that particular location, right? And I can basically pick this and I can cd into it, right? And you will see me, I am there. And if I do pwd, which stands for present working directory, you want to verify the location in which you are within the system. You could see now that I am in a directory. That directory is called, GG something, random stuff that I've given. Now, you would also see how you can be able to move maybe from that directory to the previous one next to it with the help of something like C ... moving step behind or step in front and so on and so forth. And likewise, we'll see ... moving 2 steps backward, right? And which will take me back to my mic and so on and so forth, right? So we are going to learn to be able to maneuver this aspect, get comfortable with this aspect of creating files, managing files, and then from there, once we are comfortable, we are going to go into now managing the file directory structure, right? And permissions and so on and so forth, ownership and all that. So I think that is it. Now get yourself comfortable, try, to work with those directories, try to create directories, manage them, maneuver them, and so on and so forth. I think that is it for me, if there are no questions or anything. So please.
I got a question to ask. It's gonna take us a few minutes back from what we did. I just want to ask, can you cut into different files with one command at the same time? Just one command.
Yes.
So like the one you created, we created that file for Killian and Mary. Can you cut into that file, Killian and Mary at the same time?
Am I still sharing my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
No,
We see your screen, but it's only the
you're not sharing.
No, you're not sharing.
Oh, okay. Now, you can cut into multiple files. Let me see that. Where is at the same time? Let's say, for instance, are you seeing now?
Yes.
Okay. I want to go, 1 step backward again, so I could be within my class, which is where I have multiple files. Now, let's see. I have files here. I have Killian, I have Mary, I have Mike, I have test. Do you see that now? What can I do? I can cut into these files. I will say cut. What do? I just need to list the files. Killian, that's Killian, Mary. All right, this ones I know there's basically nothing there. Right, so it's gonna cut all the files. You see, in Killian, I did have DevOps name with capital D and O. And in Mary, I did have DevOps just name with small letters. So it cut all the files. The other ones are empty. That's why you don't see anything here from those ones.
Yeah, all right, that's good.
So all you do is what you need to do cut, and then you separate them with spaces. And it's going to display the content of all these files for you. And I wish, let me see here, if I have, which file here can I have that is having...
Can we easily delete those files?
Yes, of course. We created them so you can delete them. I don't know which configuration file here I could, anyway, that's fine for now.
Yeah, following the question that Mike just asked right there. So deleting the file that has content in it, do you have to delete the content first before you delete the file, or when you delete the file, you delete the content?
Mr. Killian, when you say a file, okay, no, it's okay. So we
So
talk about the content of the file, not I was
when you are
thinking
deleting
like
a file,
folder.
let's say I want to delete Killian, what do I do? RM Killian, that's deleted.
Removed.
Now, when you are deleting, for instance, a folder, let's say which folder can I use? Let's say this one, this folder. If I do RM, right? RM is actually RM. You say you cannot remove such file or folder. It's not a file. That's the first thing. So most of them I use my RM-RF. So we're going to first delete this directory plus all sub-content, subdirectories and folder and files we don't need. Now at this point, you cannot see it again. So we use RM-RF. RF, stands for force delete. R stands for recursive, and F stands for what? Force. So you want it to have a recursive effect. What is the recursive effect? It means that any sub-related child folders or directories are going to apply the same, request, deletion. And so it's going to also use the F to force the deletion, because if you don't force it, it will try to prevent you from deleting them, right? So with that, you don't have to go in and try to delete the content. No, if you want, you just use the force delete option and then the recursive, and you have it done. Simple as that.
Yeah, please, sir, I have a question here.
Yes.
Now, you did a list here, LS. So this is the list that I've listed. So I want to know here the difference between a directory and a folder, because I discovered that there's a directory, there's a folder. But I used to be confused with it because I think that Mike one should be a directory.
With directory,
Mike should be.
You always see it start with D.
Okay,
Files will always start with the minus or the hyphen sign.
Okay.
That's the first thing, just at a glance. When you see anything that starts with a D, it is a directory. Anything that starts with a hyphen, those are files. That is it. So you see here, this.
Okay, hold on, Mike. I got to write that down. That's good information that I did not know.
Okay.
Because I was thinking of this change of color, like someone is white, the other one is sky blue.
Yeah. Also, yeah, the folders. Sometimes why you don't want to look at the colors, because you can customize your operating your terminal, and everything here looks green. So instead of looking at the colors, that might not be effective way, because if I decide to change my colors thing, a thing can come that in such a that will make it all this will look green. You don't know which one is.
What was making me confused is when I'm working either with Bash or I'm working with Ubuntu directly and not mobile STM. Sometimes it does not show it does not give color.
So you say by looking at it at a glance, the D is what? Is the file?
So when you look at here, right, the highlighted, the first here at the beginning, you see something D. This D signifies that this is a directory.
Directory, yeah, okay.
All files will always start with this, with a hyphen. That means it's all these are files. And here you will see the root related directory. You see here, it starts with D. It's telling you that this hyphen signifies the root directory. It is a directory and all that.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I think that is it for me. And I'm going to definitely end it here. And then I will send out the details for you guys soon. And I will see you guys on Friday. So within this week, I'm going to be giving some assignments in the group, right? So that you can keep you busy practicing, but most especially, if you could get comfortable now, that would be very good with these simple things: touch commands, cat commands, creating files and all that. So just play with them. Try to get your hands a little bit dirty. All right.
So
Are
which
we
command is
done?
the torch?
Torch, card, mkdir, cd, and all that.
TWD.
Vim, nano, get used to them. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. We learn here by doing, so don't think that's just that. So what we are basically doing now is laying the foundation so that we start working, because once we have laid the foundation, going forward, we're not going to be teaching how to do it. When we come to class, if you are setting up, for instance, Jenkins, you are going to use this knowledge to set up Jenkins. You know that I need to know how to maybe, because where I'm using my sudo, what I'm using, and so on and so forth. That's how we are going to be, and that's how you're going to keep going. So at the beginning, we are laying the foundation. Don't think that we're going to just sit here and be teaching Linux. If you want to sit here and teach only Linux, it can take us another maybe 2-3 months. But we are going to lay the foundation and start building in that foundation by doing, which is the best way to do it. Learning by doing, unlike just, sitting and watching. No. That's how it's going to go. All right. Have a good day.
Okay, Mike, I will
Thank
reach
you,
out
sir.
to you right now after class.
All right.
Behind the scene. Yeah.
Okay.